Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan, and today I'm going to be discussing episode 4 of Traitors. So let's get into it. Okay, so we start off the episode with everyone coming to breakfast. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like this has happened in a couple episodes. Everyone keeps talking about this salmon. Like, who's eating the salmon? Do people have salmon for breakfast? Because I don't think I've ever had salmon for breakfast. And what is so special about salmon? Like, I love salmon for like a dinner. Like if it's grilled salmon, whether it's like blackened or like barbecue salmon or something like that. But I don't know what it is with salmon for breakfast. And these people are obsessed with the salmon. So that was just interesting. I'm like, why is everybody talking about this salmon? So that was one of the things I wanted to bring up was that. The other thing is that we get an idea of Rob's mindset. Even though he's a traitor, he is always in the mindset of thinking like a faithful so that he doesn't, like mix up words or mix up perspectives on either one. So he kind of goes into it as a faithful, which I think also Candace is doing really well as that. You see later on in the episode, even at round tables, she sometimes leads round tables, and even just her cadence and demeanor, you could totally buy that she could be a faithful. And so it's just really interesting on her reaction to things. It reminds me of one of the housewives, I think from like season 2, was it Larsa or like MJ? There were certain moments where either of them had these moments where they were catching on or like leading even though they were faithfuls. And so I think Candace can definitely fly under the radar if she continues to be the way that she is right now in terms of like leading the round table and just having the sound advice. And the one thing that she is doing is she's staying consistent, which is a really big deal, particularly in a game like this, is that if you stay consistent, I think more people are willing to believe you, because she continues to rant about Ron, which they have been suspecting for the last few episodes as a traitor. So why would you just want to deter away from that if everyone was kind of going for Ron anyway? And so I agree with her in the moment, like, where's this Tiffany coming out of the woodworks? Like, why are people saying Tiffany when we've been focusing on Ron the entire time? So I think she's doing kind of good in terms of, I feel like she's helping out the faithfuls more than the faithfuls are helping themselves. But like, knowing that she's a traitor and she has, the perspective of the whole entire game, and I guess it isn't really a shock to me, but I do like her points of, like, why are we flip-flopping at this last minute? It's like, let's focus, like, one at a time to getting these people out, even though they're wrong. To Rob's point, later on in the episode where he's like, well, shoot, if Colton's willing to take a shot, like, keep those names strung out. And Rob's like, well, they're wrong, but like, who am I to say anything when that helps the traitors out a lot more, knowing that the people that the faithfuls want to try to get out are actually of their own. So I don't even know how, like, when Rob chuckled or at least smiled, you could see his smirk in the round table. I was just like, music to his ears. I was like, I bet the traitors are loving this. I know Candace got really emotional, but like, Rob was just like, I'm loving this. Like, I'd be smiling so hard if I was a traitor and all these faithfuls are basically doing the work for me. I don't even have to do much. I'd just be like smiling away. So the fact that he can like hold in sometimes his emotions is really good, because I would just be so excited as a traitor. It's like, oh my gosh, these people, like, we are fooling these people. And sometimes when you play a game, and especially a strategic game, and there's manipulation, you just like kind of feel really good because you're beating like your opponent. And I don't know, it's kind of fun to watch like how dumb these people are playing this game. And it just cracked me up. I was laughing so hard, and everything that Tiffany said at the round table was true. Like, she was like bashing these people, and they're like, yeah, okay. But it's like, Tiffany knows the truth, that she's a faithful. So they just looked like more idiots when she got to the circle and she announced herself as a faithful. Oh my gosh, I just freaking loved it. I loved everything that Tiffany said, and I was just like, these people are gonna get a smack in the face. And it's like, yeah, they deserve it. So, okay, so let's get back to the murder. We find out that Caroline is murdered, and the people that were tied to the tree came in, and one of the things that we saw was, like, Rob was a little worried about Lisa because Lisa is a traitor with him, and her story had to be hopefully not contradicting everyone else's story that was on the tree that was coming in. You saw this tactic, I believe, used last season when Sam brought it up about, hey, like, ask the people if it was a face-to-face murder, like, what Alan was wearing, what this and this. And so they actually used it again in this one. And so I had to, like, skip forward because when Lisa started talking, I was just like, oh my gosh, I was getting a secondhand embarrassment, and I don't like getting a secondhand embarrassment. So I had to, like, fast forward. And there were certain parts where she, like, really was really descriptive. And Steven and who sat next to Steven, they were just like, well, did Ron say an X in his story? And they were just like, no. But I'm pretty sure that Ron mentioned, like, he used some type of term which you could figure out that he means, like, a man with an axe. So I don't know. I don't really know about that because I was just like, well, Ron, I'm pretty sure Ron did say something about a guy with an axe or a hedgeman. He said something. I don't know. I honestly cannot wait until Colton leaves. I know he's not going to win the game because of his mouth, but he is annoying me so much, and he's becoming so cocky. When he comes out after breakfast and they're all around outside the castle, and he goes up to, like, the boys and tells them about, like, what he was planning on doing, and Rob's like, oh, what do you mean? And so he gives them, like, the plan, and, like, right then and there, I was like, I don't know how Rob kept his composure, because, like I said, Colton's going off the rails, and I would be just, like, smiling, and then, like, this is great. But, like, if you probably have to obviously, like, stay professional, and you don't want to, you know, show your cards or anything. So in the back of his head, or even, like, professional, he's just like, this is so great. This is so great. And I just Colton just keeps making an idiot of himself, and it just, I don't know, it, like, kind of cracks me up. But, like, I honestly, like, can't wait for him to leave. Like, I wonder if he's gonna actually get murdered or banished. Kind of, like, jumping all over the place. But I really liked the challenge on this episode. I also loved Alan's comments. He had some really good comments about the how the players were playing. And I thought it was so funny when he was talking about Rob, and when Rob was carrying Maura, and he's like, well, Dorinda could use a ride. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. And then they just, like, panned to Dorinda. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I don't know why Maura was struggling, because she seems, like, pretty fit, and she's probably pretty young. So that was kind of interesting on how she was struggling. But Alan is just so great. And then the thing about Michael, he just kept yelling the person's name. And oh my gosh, it was so great. And, like, it's like Michael, it's kind of like Michael's like Tom from last season. You just let him be him. Because Tom was like that too. Like, he just would never shut up. And it's like Michael is kind of like the same way, except he's probably a little more abrasive. But it's just like, let him talk, let him get into trouble, and, you know, you can banish him and murder him later. I think that's all my thoughts on the episode. I will say I'm really happy for, like, Candace and Rob. I think they're playing the better game. Lisa's becoming suspicious, especially at breakfast. So I'm a little worried about her. However, I think Candace is blending in very well as a faithful, and it'll be interesting to see how that is going forward, if anybody will catch on to her at all. And Rob did mention that he is trying to play a dumb game. And so I think this episode, he did really good, especially that comment about Eric at the round table. I was just like, that was so funny, but, like, kind of, like, unnecessary. But to play up that, like, a dumb persona, I feel like that was just added in there, and that was really funny. But I noticed that Lisa and Candace both voted for Ron to leave, and Rob didn't. And I noticed, I think it was Natalie maybe, saw or remember who people voted for in the past days and kind of used that as a strategy. So I wonder if both Lisa and Candace putting down Ron as a banishment if that will like come back to bite them or not. I can't remember who else voted for Ron at the round table, but I noticed some players have been paying attention on who voted who. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.